Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Senor Nerd Podcast. I have here with me Ramon,
Hey guys.
Raul,
Greetings.
and we're here today to talk about episode 5 of Demon Slayer Swordsmith Village. And guys, this episode was really, really great. Like last episode, I complained about not being able to finish. Not only did I finish, not only did I climax after I watched this episode, but I ended up lighting a cigarette and just smoking out in the back porch. And I was just thinking for 20 minutes about how this episode was so good and complimenting it in every way I could, just so that in the hopes that the next episode they would try to bring even more action to it. But I thought it was great. So I gotta kind of like right off the bat ask you guys, what did this episode? How did you guys feel about it? Did you guys feel like you actually got more than last episode kind of left us wanting a little bit more? Tell us all about it, guys.
No, this episode. Well, I still hate the fact that these episodes are so short and we only get one episode at a time. It's they all feel like quickies. Like they're fine and like you like them, but you still kind of like you like the whole thing where there's romance, there's some like foreplay, there's more to do, and it's more of an experience more than just like I got 20 minutes, let's go.
And I agree with you because we're in our 30s, so I would say like when you're younger, and you'll see where I'm coming from. But when you're younger, you're a little bit more about getting to it. You don't care if you finish quick or not. You just got it. You got to it. But when you're older, you want to appreciate some of these things. You want to bring a little bit more of excitement. So I hear what you're saying,
want an
bro.
experience.
Do you want to feel the shivers of the first love? I don't know if you forgot about that already, but
No, but
Carlos did it. Carlos forgot about it already.
I totally forgot about it.
It's the love Hashira's like move that she does when she kills the koi fish. It's the shivers of first love or the shivers of something like that. Thought it was great. That's what I want to feel. That's what I want to feel, the butterflies in my stomach still, like I still want to feel something in there. So this episode did that.
Ramon, I kind of want to hear from you first because I think you're going to be the one that's going to be a little bit, tell us more about how you're disappointed because the name of the episode was Big Red Sword, and not big, but Red Sword.
Bright Red Sword.
Bright Red Sword, and I think you were the most excited for it, but I think they showed you a different Bright Red Sword. So I don't know if that either brought you excitement or you were kind of pissed off that that's not the Bright Red Sword that you wanted to see.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it wasn't the bright red sword I wanted to see, but also I also didn't know what I wanted to see, right? So at the end of it all, I was pretty satisfied. But man, yeah, this episode was definitely that. Like we're talking about all these like funny things, but man, I was just like, I think if anything, I was more romanced in this episode because I finally got to see the love Hashira in action, and she was that, right? Like her moves are also so beautiful, man. Like I told you, like the shivers of first love. And then when you really see it in action, you're like, holy crap, this woman can kill me, like can destroy me.
I finally was able to pinpoint what her moves kind of reminded me after I saw the episode a second time, but it all kind of went back to like old school, the movie with Will Ferrell, and she's doing kind of like she's doing the dance ribbon with it, like it's not a whip. She's actually doing more of like the dance ribbon with it, and that's exactly what it's portraying when I'm watching her.
The gymnastics,
in an old school with Will Ferrell. So if you need to like compare that to something in like live action, that's exactly what I feel like this is bringing. Like her way of doing these moves is being inspired by that. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong on that.
So what you're saying is, if they do a live action Demon Slayer, you want Will Ferrell to be the love Hashira.
Maybe 20 years ago, but I think that ship has sailed at this point.
It'd be definitely a sight for eyes. So for great, I don't know, it'd be a little scary, but no. I mean, but it was beautiful. You're right. It's absolutely like a ribbon, which is actually more incredible. Like the way that she kind of wields it, because it's definitely more. Very fluid, very ribbon-like. And I think my initial thoughts, obviously we're watching an anime, we're watching some crazy stuff already happening, but just the fact that even the scene when she goes and kills that big koi demon fish, like that sword is so long, like it's just curling around and sorting around. Like, I mean, if we extended that thing, we kind of took our time, measured it, like yardstick at a time, like, it's like a good maybe like 30 feet, like 3 stories, like it was crazy. right? And then if you want to skip to the very end, like after the credits, there's like that funny scene when Tanjiro and Nezuko are asking. See, so Tanjiro and Nezuko are asking her how she sheaths it, like how she puts it back, right? Because can you imagine a big long ribbon whippy sword, and then it's like, so how do you put it away? And then she gets all like fancy and whoop, just like that. And they're like, oh my god, that's great, and it's just beautiful, man. I think that's what I need. I have been waiting for her to kind of show me more, and not that kind of more, but even also that works. So, dig it.
Well, you know what? This whole episode they've been saying, like, even in the last episode, like, hey, we have to go and save the chief from the village. And I was like, come on, man. Like, do you really need to save the guy just because he's in charge and he's the oldest? But then again, the love Hashira or somebody like from the, makes a comment that, hey, did the chief leader make her sword? So maybe those are the kind of skills that he has, where it's like, oh man, if you have a guy that's that skillful and can bend metal in a way where you can kind of like move it around like a ribbon, like hell yeah, that guy needs to be saved. Priority number one, save the village leader right now. And he ended up being like a kind of a perv.
No, I mean, but who wouldn't be in that situation, right? And I think the funniest part is that he did have that response. He was just like, oh my god, you saved me. And then the dude next to them was like, I'm hurt too, help, hold my hand. And then the master's like, hey, shut up, leave us alone.
No, the big thing that I got from her sword. So
yeah, boner.
No, but the Demon Slayer is already it kind of inspired by Bleach, with the different captains, and then you have all the different Hashiras or whatever, and then like her sword completely reminded me of a Bankai. Because you know how like in Bleach they each have like a Bankai or their sword kind of has like some special ability.
Yeah,
and that totally reminded me of hers, and I was kind of looking forward to see like how she did her like love breathing, but or because it's I don't know how they're gonna visualize it, because with the water, the fire, you kind of get the idea, but with that one, I guess they what they really did was just kind of change the way that her sword worked, and then they added the actual like little graphics around and stuff.
Yeah, it wasn't anything too crazy to it, but
yeah. No, Ramon, Raul kind of dropped the word that makes me always get kind of like 100% serious. Somebody kind of like you when we talk about Naruto, like if you kind of drop Bleach, all of a sudden I'm going to be like, ooh, I'm going to get a little bit serious and kind of just be like, Raul, have you noticed that like some of the pillars are almost exactly like the captains? It's just kind of like when you watch Bleach and you're watching these captains, Ramon, that's probably one thing that's going to make you love Bleach. Bleach has like the most amazing captains. The only problem with them is like not all of them get like these episodes like in Demon Slayer where you can kind of like see their abilities or see what they're really about. But because there are so many episodes, you will get hints and you can kind of like tie them together as to like, oh, this is what makes this captain kind of cool. So like, no, I agree with you, Ro. Like, that love pillar kind of did remind me a little bit about like a captain releasing their Bankai. And I think when you do compare Demon Slayer and Bleach to the captains, it's like very similar, except that Demon Slayer is clearly doing a lot more with these captains than Bleach is doing with them, because in Bleach it's like they almost take him for granted, and Ichigo's always meant to be stronger than a captain, where in Demon Slayer it's like no, like the pillars are stronger than Tanjiro, and Tanjiro is like nowhere close to becoming as powerful as them, and eventually he might get there, but like right now it's like no, let the pillars do the work, because they're the ones that are actually going to be able to like show results.
Yeah, and the Hashira are actually like dying or losing like badly, where the captains in Bleach were like nothing could kill them except for like Aizen and random other shit.
Yeah. Okay. Now, like Will Ferrell, like whew, now I can be like, what happened? Because let's talk about Demon Slayer again,
dude. I don't know how we're gonna talk about this episode without laughing and giggling like little girls. But like, if you at least want to start,
we just gotta do everything with a deeper voice.
Oh, okay. So let's see. So how it really starts is we see Tokito and the little kid are running towards the aid of the other Swordsmith, and then we meet the man baby, the demon, the base demon with the little man or little baby hands, right?
Oh, dude,
I was so waiting to see him again in action, which I was really happy to see him in action, right? But I also cannot get over the way he looks, man. It's just he looks like a decrepit doll that like some kid was just so perturbed that they sat there, dismembered other dolls, and then super glued them back on another doll, and then like took their eyes and put it like where their mouth should be, and then their mouth with their like. I mean, it's something I would do, but also
it was Sid from Toy Story.
There you go. We'll blame it on Sid.
Guys, if I could tell you something like personal about me, there is, you guys probably don't know this, but there is one, there's one thing about like women or when I was looking for somebody to be with or like dating that kind of like I would never be able to get around if I met the perfect person. And this was one of her features. Like, I don't like small hands. Small hands kind of creep me out. So like this demon, like Ramon, you nailed it when you said like, this demon has like baby arms. It like totally like it creeps me out, and it's just like I go back to like thinking like I've never liked people with like small hands or like like a lady. Like I could never date somebody that has this very like tiny hands like a baby because to me that's just very creepy. So if Trump was a woman, like I would not be able to date Trump at all. I'd be like get the fuck out of here, Trump, with your baby ass hands.
Otherwise you would. But dude, I thought you were gonna tell us that if you like freaking took your shirt off, you had like little baby hands all over the place. I'm like, I've never seen that before, but okay, I believe it.
Like a millipede.
Right.
No.
So we don't baby centipede.
Oh, dude, I'm discovering a lot of your phobias through these podcasts, Carlos.
You don't like witches. You don't like
hey man,
anyone with little hands.
just like the upper four moon demon, I wear my emotions on my sleeve. So yeah, man, I'm gonna like just be an open book as we record more and tell you more, guys, about who I am and what makes me tick.
Okay, but real quick though, let's get serious about what's his name, Gyoko.
Gyoko, yeah, Gyoko. Uh-huh.
Oh my god. Okay, so again, really messed up, but I really love. I have like a whole problem with all these like anime characters being artists because again, giving us a bad name, right? But then we discovered this guy's like an artist, right? He's all about his art. He's all about how great his art is, and what a masterpiece that he freaking take out of that face, man. I love that, right? He was like, all right, let me show you my masterpiece or my art piece. Out of the freaking vase comes like body after body after body after body of swordsmiths. And then not only that, half mass, they're bleeding, they're impaled. And I think the better part about that scene is the way that he talks about it, right? Because he is romanticizing his like work of art. He's talking about it like, oh man, like let's have some of the suffering with this like, violence, like the blood, and just for extra detail, you have the swords that they made impaling them. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, that was so good. So good. So I mean, we didn't see anything crazy happen with that yet because in a sense we were also mesmerized by that hideous like monstrosity that he created, but like everybody was having that same reaction. I think Tokito was the only one that was kind of like thrown back, but also not like really responding in a crazy way about it. But man, once you start seeing him fight, I did really enjoy like his powers. Like I really like the stuff that he does outside of making creepy art. Like some pretty good abilities.
No, yeah, I mean, if we're gonna be talking about the Tokido fight with Gyoko, the one thing that I want to say is like this episode owes a lot to Naruto, Ramon, and you're gonna love the way I connected it to it. But it actually reminded me a lot of when Haku from Naruto, like I have not seen somebody get hit by so many spikes or needles in the face, in the body, all over the body since I've seen that battle with Naruto and Haku. So that kind of reminded me about it. It also reminded me a little bit of the water prisons. Like, I'm like, oh man, you guys are straight up just stealing from Naruto for this episode. Mm-hmm. Like I talked to you guys on the side, but some of the character designs for this season, especially when it comes to the Upper Demon 4, kind of reminds me a little bit back to my Inuyasha roots. And then when I was watching this episode, I'm like, oh, I'm seeing like the Naruto connection. And I don't think I've ever really connected this show with Naruto, even though we have made reference. But this is the first time where I'm like, oh, these needles are just fucking creepy, man. And they hurt my boy's face, man. Tokido now probably gonna have all these like scars. That crow's gonna
go mend it.
That crow's gonna be pissed off. His crow is gonna be super freaking mad. I'm surprised she didn't like come and attack those koi fishes.
Yeah, Carlos like, hey, boy, I got you. Let me clean that up. Let me take it off,
dude. And for the art part, like just the way that he described it too is probably like one of the most legit like real artist things I've seen in anime. Because like in One Piece, they had this lady that did art that was just horrible. That like she like fucked everything up, and then she kept calling it art or whatever. in the Flamingo arc. And like in pretty much any other anime, it's always like either a joke or like it's done like really badly and it's purposely really bad. But like this, like you could tell that like he actually cared about it. He put thought into like how they wear the masks, the swords, like how they were stacked together, and like the fact that they were still fucking alive. Like it was kind of like haunting, and like if they turned him into like a real like horror movie, I think that they could.
Dude,
Yeah.
how does this demon work, Ramon? Tell me how this like how is Kyoko being able to like teleport and like what is this? What is Tokido fighting? Dude? Like I just have so much like I know you kind of like are mentioning how this is bringing like a bad thing to like artists, but it's just like I don't understand it, and it's maybe like somebody like you that actually has that artist background. Like you can tell me more about him, but like I'm like totally like missing the point with this guy.
But you know, like in a weird way, like I don't really mean that when I say they're giving us a bad name. I actually kind of like it because I think you know part of like let's go back to like high school art days, right? Like anyone who's taken like middle school, high school art, like you get into this very like depressing or maybe even very like emo type of art that you want to do. At least me, right? When I was making art in high school, everything was so depressing. Like I had a lot of drawings of like also bodies like on fire, like people getting like pulled apart, their skin pulled apart. Like I think I
Oh
did a short picture of my
Oh,
skin being pulled apart. Like
I
so, believe
I
me,
have some of them.
yeah, believe me, and that's what I'm saying, and it's that kind of stuff that it's like this guy makes me think. So Raul, when you say that he is truly a good representation of a real artist, and to say it's true. So I guess he doesn't give him a bad name. I think it's just like how fucked up his art is
yeah.
that makes us seem like we're all kind of crazy inside. Which a little bit, you know, you have to be a little bit right to make some cool
No,
stuff. But you, it's like no, but like Raul said, it's
dude,
just so crazy everything that he did. But I don't know how his powers work. I'm just really
but
impressed that you can hold that many people in there.
Ramon, and I just saw yourself kind of opening up yourself to like who you really are as a person, and like why don't you tell people like, man, do you have like an artist background? I think you went on a scholarship to college based on an artist like like scholarship. So it's just kind of like cool that you're actually like people should know that you know what you're talking about, like your shit, like you have had exhibitions in your name. And Raul, you live with Ramon, and to my understanding, Ramon, you had a basement full of creepy shit that kind of like
I
flooded,
love
so that
it.
so
I love his
so
art.
so, so all the evidence that would have pinpointed you to be the actual serial killer kind of washed away, so you had like a fresh start.
Dude,
But tell people about it, man.
What
Sell yourself.
with jumping a whole lot just because you mentioned the perfect combination of details. So my niece lives in the house that I used to live in, right? It's a house that I own. My sister lives there. My niece just told me, I saw her yesterday, and she's like, "Hey, like, I just went downstairs in the basement, and oh my god, I totally forgot you had mannequins everywhere." Don't let that creep you out, but that's the kind of stuff I was into. No, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I didn't go to school for art. I just ended up being there. I went to school for psychology, and crazy enough, that kind of just really brought out a side of me that I'm like, I'm definitely in the wrong field. I wanted to be where I can express myself. I had so much darkness, not necessarily darkness inside of me, but just so much stuff that I want to like show. And just like freaking Gyoko, like this demon, I definitely wanted to show the creepiness. I really wanted to show people like what it is that I thought in my head. And it can get really crazy, man. So I really relate to him with the craziness. And I did it for a long time, went to grad school, like taught a little bit. I still like do art a little bit minimally. But that creativity, the crazy stuff that I draw, it's still there because like him, it's a part of you, right? And whether you get to express it in one way or another, painting, making stuff, like even doodling, like, dude, it shows like the darkest, most inner, or even just like your true self. Because whatever's going on inside of your head comes right out on paper, comes right out in sculpture. And yeah, there was like a lot of times where, yeah, Raul, when he lived with me, like I do like to collect, I like to hoard. Even now, if you go to my basements, there's a collection of just like junk and figures and crazy stuff, and a lot of them are creepy, and a lot of them just make you think like, man, is this guy a serial killer? But no, he's married, he has a dog. Like, wait, where's the bodies?
No, no, man, and I mean, as long as we're doing these recordings and we keep like doing them every week by week, people are gonna just have to find out
Wait,
more
you're
about
you're
us.
you're,
And
you're you're recording this? No.
I am
Oh,
recording
yeah.
this,
Dude, extract all that, please edit all that out. There is nothing going on downstairs.
but this is the thing. Like, I mean, people want to hear about us. They don't just want to hear that we're like 35-year-old losers. Because I mean, believe it or not, again, some of us have a lot
You're so
that we
sweet.
bring to the table. And this is I'm going to use
I'm
this
31,
opportunity.
by the way.
Yeah, tell that to the 18-year-old you're dating. But uh, But no, I wanted to be serious for a second. And if anybody's really enjoying like our conversations and stuff, like guys, we're everywhere now. Like I keep adding us to different things. Like Ro, I think you mentioned that your favorite place to like listen to some of our episodes when you go to the toilet. So if you're somebody that likes to go to the toilet and you're there for 30 minutes like Ro, feel free to like, Kate, we just added a YouTube channel and we could really use the love for you to subscribe to it because we're trying to grow again. We're everywhere and YouTube channel is just like a new place that we've added our conversations, our videos, so that people can find us. So if you're loving us, again, give us a 5-star anywhere you can. And if you're not following us on YouTube, just go and follow the channel. It'd be really helpful and supportive. So appreciate anybody listening to us.
No,
And
and like
and if you want to see any of Ramon's art, he tends to post some of it on TikTok too.
well, I was going to say, like Carlos mentioned, I'm like, if you do truly are enjoying listening to us and you don't know us personally, because there's quite a bit of people that listen to us that do know us. Some people, from other countries, other places that don't. Like, I don't know, there's a lot of random cool stuff that we do. And so, yeah, if you go to like our different like TikTok accounts, Instagram accounts, I think you see a lot of the creativity. And it's not just like we're regurgitating the same thing everybody does. It might not be like the best or the most exciting. We're also all have full-time jobs. So the fact that we get to kind of hang out and do this and then still take some time to like make some creative like content and then just, post some random TikToks about like killer koi fish, then go enjoy. So any love, we love you back. There you go.
Dude, who would have thought episode 5 of Demon Slayer would be the episode where all of a sudden we open up about who we really are, and about Rose's 18-year-old girlfriend, and I'm a little bit still not don't feel too okay with, but who would have thought? But let's get back on point, man. I know we were talking about Tokito and his fight, but even before that, Ramon, there's the fight, that we kind of get a little bit of what happened in the last episode with Tanjiro and Nezuko. So I don't know if Ramon or Ro, you want to be the one to kind of like walk us through as Tanjiro woke up and noticed that he was being carried by Nezuko.
Well, yeah, because what happened where we left off in the last episode, the fan guy kind of pushed them down like a whole floor. And they were there just kind of like dead or practically dead on the ground. And then when you kind of get the vision, the image of Tanjiro kind of waking up and kind of groggy and like trying to figure out what's happening, and then Nezuko's running with him, and then he's starting to have some of these like ancestral memories, or I forgot what they call them, but
inherited memories.
Yeah, inherited memories, where he's kind of getting like a vision of a girl. Like he thought it was Nezuko at first, but then it wasn't. And then he realized, oh, like I'm remembering as if I was this guy that one dummy was made out of. And then he kind of comes to, and then they're like going against this upper demon.
The Inside Out demon. Don't forget the Inside Out demon.
Yeah. Yeah, the Inside Out demon with all the different personalities. Yeah, and then like each one's kind of trying to fight them in their different ways, and they're like kind of like trading places, being hurt, and carrying each other, and then kind of like you get this sense. For me, it was weird at first because Nezuko just grabbed onto his blade, and then she wasn't letting go. Like, what the hell is she doing? Is she trying to get him to stop, or what it was? And then she was like, the thing was that she was getting her blood all over it on purpose. I don't know what you guys thought that she was doing.
No, yeah, when he got blasted by that demon, and I know this is the one that I refuse to look up what he is, but listening to another podcast, I think somebody said that maybe he was like the pleasure emotion, like maybe that's like the emotion he's reflecting with the fan. I'm still trying to figure out who he is, but yeah, like I thought that was kind of like interesting with like, and I love his ability, dude. Like the whole idea of like blowing people in that kind of method. I think it's really cool, and I think it's really destructive, and it can be really painful. So I really kind of, if I could be any of them, I think I would be that demon specifically. But yeah, when she grabs onto
the demon that blows people,
the demon that blows and the pleasure demon. Yes, I would be the pleasure demon, as I put it, you bastards. But when Nezuko grabbed onto her sword. I thought that was the reason she was doing it. Like I caught on right away because I'm like, dude, if you're gonna grab that sword, it's just gonna cut you because nobody would be dumb enough to like grab a blade, a very sharp blade like that. So I knew that she was trying to maybe put her blood on the sword, but I definitely never thought see what the next scene portrayed. And I mean, that's kind of when it goes back to the Tokito fight. But Ramon, are we done with the Tokito? I know that's kind of like a little bit more, but like, I want to hear everything you have to say about that fight before we really get and I want to tell you guys, I'm very excited to talk about, the final scene, but anything
Oh
left
yeah,
with
absolutely.
Tokito?
It's like we're saving that final scene because it was just so orgasmic. So let's hold on on that one. Let's keep it going a little bit.
Yeah.
No, well, first of all, like I was just scrolling through the episode again too, and then I got back to Tokito and the needles. By the way, he got it worse than Sasuke, man. Like I'm just like looking at a picture of Tokito right now, and those needles are thick, they're long, like he's bleeding,
And they're
like one went through
poisoned.
his ear. They're like, yeah, and they're poison. Oh yeah.
Poison.
Good point. Because I do remember that once I found that out, I was like, dude, what is going to happen next? Like, at this point, like, who's going to save him from the poison right now, or what's going to be the next move for him? I think that was one of the more kind of like tragic things to find out. I know he's probably going to be fine, he's going to survive, but no, in general, man, that demon too is just great. Like, I love his ability to be able to create. Because yeah, Tokito was like so confused as to how in the world he's able to teleport so quick and kind of generate these faces out of nowhere, right? So maybe it's like the artist in him, and he's just able to create so quick. But then once you start seeing his ability with his little baby hands, and then he's just like blows the base out of the hands and not of the base, he has all these cool forms, right? Because he's doing like the water prison that he does too, like freaking Kisame. Like he's doing all these crazy things, and I don't know. I think that fight's not really over yet. But I think I'm just mesmerized and just curious to see what else that guy's gonna do. And then also the same thing, like how he's gonna be. I think Tokito already said it. Like the other demon, by decapitating him, nothing happens to him. Well, this guy, because he moves around so much, he's thinking that it's going to be an obvious like decapitation, and that's it. So I'm curious. I'm really happy to kind of go through this one and kind of see what happens.
Because one of our highlights from our last episode, Ramon, was when you were saying that Tokito does not deserve that sword, that they found in the doll. But it sounds like it's heading in that direction. And from what I can tell, after watching it a second time, the reason why he wasn't able to cut the head was because his sword at this point is very rusty, doesn't have the sharp edges that it needs to. It decapitated an upper moon. So what do you think? Like, are you kind of like on my team right now, where it's like Tokito's for sure gonna get it?
Okay, so see, now you're gonna do a clip about this one, me admitting I'm wrong. No, I think so too, and I think obviously like we could kind of skip back to the last fight again too, where now with like Nezuko gets her blood on the sword and like Tanjiro's sword, and then becomes like that, gets inflamed. I mean, not inflamed in that way. It gets full of flames. it becomes a flame sword, and he sets it right away. Like this just became like a bright red sword. And then just like that inherited memory, he remembered that there's that whole thing about the samurai who had a black sword, whose sword also became like bright red. And so as soon as I saw that, I'm like, okay, this is clearly more important for Tanjiro to have this sword that is more related to that like sun breathing like samurai dude, which again I still am gonna act like I don't know more about him, but yeah, like I feel like it's better that that sword is his because he inherited Nezuko, powered it up, and now it's like a crazy bond that sword has that perhaps like whatever. So yes, I guess you can give Tokito that 300-year-old sword. It's gonna break anyways.
Isn't the sword that Tanjiro currently has like the one that Nezuko bled all over? Isn't that just one of the 6 that the dummy had?
No, that's the one Tokito has. Tokito has one of the 6 swords from the doll because that's what he took. He's like, hey, I broke this arm, and I'm just gonna take this sword.
He took it.
Yeah.
So what sword does Tanjiro currently has? Because Tanjiro doesn't have a sword.
I think he has his sword, doesn't it?
Oh, his sword broke, didn't he?
Yeah, his sword broke. So yeah, that's actually a good point to like, because I don't really recall now what kind of sword he has. Maybe the guy, his actually swordsmith, made him his sword back, and then he's like, oh, well, you have this other sword. I'm gonna go ahead and make you this one so that one can replace whatever you currently have. Because yeah, like that's actually something that you brought up, bro, and I don't want to think about it too hard, but it's like, how did he get his sword back?
But even going back to the first time that he got like one of his newer swords, and again, whenever it turned black, and that was a whole thing because you're like, oh man, like that's so unlucky to have a black sword. So we're finally at the point where it's not black.
Yeah, because I rewatched the first few episodes, and when he gives him the sword, because again, you have to choose your material, and based, I guess, on
Yeah,
the personality. And his swordsmith guy, when he took him his sword, he was so excited for it because he's like, "I'm gonna get to see a red bright sword," and he was just like so disappointed when it turned black. Because I guess to them, a black sword meant that you weren't really special. There was nothing about you. So it's kind of interesting to find out that the original son Hashira also had a black sword. Because like, dude, how did you guys forget
yeah.
this information? You guys are shitting on black swords, but yet the greatest master sword fighter of all time had also a black sword. Like, how do you guys drop that information at all? Like, you guys need to get your shit together about the colors of these swords.
Maybe black swords are kind of common, but only black swords, or like only like very very like minuscule few black swords ever turn like that. So some, but since it had been so long since anybody did it, like black sword just kind of just became generic. Maybe.
Maybe,
Yeah,
yeah.
maybe
It's like,
because I think no one has that ability or no one is special enough to turn it in different color. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy. But I mean, again, let's we could start jumping onto that scene because, or go ahead.
no, no, yeah, no, we can start to it. And from now on, guys, I want you guys to call me the Sun Halo Dragon. That is going to be the nickname that I will only when you guys refer to me, don't call me my name. I don't want to hear Carlos. I want you guys to call me the Sun Halo Dragon, and that is what my new Xbox gamer tag's going to be. That's going to be what my new everything's going to be. I'm going to get a tattoo in my chest that says the Sun Halo Dragon, because to me that was just like the coolest, the fucking
Not if I
craziest.
take it first.
You
Just kidding.
bastard.
You
But
can't
no,
stop
dude,
me.
I did not expect that to happen, and it happened so quick, so fast that again, it's just and I mentioned I was watching this with my sister in law. She's only 14, and me and her, dude, just call me a 14-year-old girl because me and her were having the same freaking emotions as we were watching this happening.
Well, even before when it goes like crazy, right? That beautiful moment again. Tanjiro is making everything so beautiful. That beautiful moment when he starts to reflect on that vision, and then he's thinking about the people that have helped him along his past. And
Oh
there's that beautiful
yeah, and all
scene
the
where all the
hands.
hands, yeah, the hands like touching his back and basically like giving him like the strength and power. And that's when he goes like Orochimaru, Scar, like freaking oh my god,
Fire.
freaking
Yeah.
Kirschmark, like
Yeah,
his
Chris Mark.
Kirschmark gets
The curse
crazy.
mark.
I
Yeah,
mean
that's a good
that
one.
is isn't it like that's basically kind of what it
Yeah.
is, right? Because at this point you see it grow, and you could tell from that other son Hashira, like it's kind of similar where he has a big flared one. But I
Mhm.
mean, you saw that that's his power up. Like he just all of a sudden gets like that birthmark gets bigger. The sword is like not only now like completely in flames, but then yeah, he goes to do that freaking awesome move, and then it's just like I think again I almost had a freaking seizure from all the flashing lights and how beautiful it was.
Mhm.
Nuts.
Dude, if you guys go back and look at my original text message, I actually called it differently, and you could understand why I did that. I didn't call it the Sun Halo Dragon. That's the correct name of it. I actually called it the Sun Halo Dance. And the reason why I did that is because, dude, Tanjiro felt like he was dancing when he did that move. The way he was moving, the way he just kind of like, it didn't seem like he was even like walking. He was just like I don't know, it was just some cool way of sliding on ice, the way he decapitated these demons with that move, and I just thought it was like the coolest thing. And so again, right now I'm coming very very high off that move, and I just want it. I need it in my life. I need to see it every day as I wake up to like instead of listening to like Eye of the Tiger every day, like I need to put that clip up, and like that's how I'm gonna start my day going forward.
Yeah, I mean, and not only was it beautiful too, but like you said, he did manage to decapitate. What was it, three out of the
So
four?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, which obviously that lets to later, but it's just like it's crazy, and every single one, and like no hesitance, there was no resistance, and then he even had the moment where he kind of reflects on the fact that he finally figured out how to have control over that, and that was just beautiful because now from now on he's gonna have that ability to just be a badass, like on
Yeah.
command, on command. Let's go.
Yeah. And he did say that it's not the same way that the other guy did it, but he did it like his own way with his sister.
Yeah.
But then I also kind of I wonder I wonder if it's really over for that demon though, because
Mm.
no offense to Tanjiro, but he's like an upper five demon. So or so how much he's like him, the other Hashira, and two other Demon Slayer struggled with an upper 6. So
Yeah.
like he's not gonna kill 3 out of the 4 upper 5 thing,
But
like on his own, with the other one like beheading the other one.
But be optimistic, my friend, because first of all, like you do have Genya over there, right? Like we have this, and we'll talk about that scene because it's kind of beautiful to see too. But then the next episode, it's gonna call like, "Aren't you gonna be a Hashira?" or like you're gonna become a Hashira. So like to me, in my mind, like, and I'll get the title before we're done with this, but it was just like to me in my mind, it's already telling us that maybe he did prove himself now, and maybe he finally was able to kind of do this. Obviously, with Nezuko's help, as far as like how to get the sword on fire. But yeah, I mean, maybe he did it. Like that'd be exciting, man, because he's finally showing his. And you just reminded me of that too, man. You know who else couldn't do it the way that his dad did it, or the way that freaking anyone else, freaking Naruto, right? And his freaking Rasengan, it was the same way too. He couldn't do that himself.
Oh,
he needed his clone jutsu. It's kind of like Tanjiro right now too. It's like he couldn't do it the way that guy did it.
He had to find his own way to do it.
But she did it inherently for him. Like he didn't know what was going on, and that was cool too. Yeah.
Dude, no, what I really liked about that whole scene actually was like when he was confronting the demons, the demons all of a sudden, and I forget this happened also with Upper Moon 6, like they get reminded because they have Mugen's blood, so they get reminded of some of his past memories, and like all of a sudden the rage emotion, he's like, shit, like Tanjiro looks exactly like that one demon slayer that almost came close to decapitating Muzan.
He cornered Muzan,
Yeah, he cornered Muzan, and just the fact that they almost like shit their pants because of the resemblance, like everything about it, the earrings, the sword, the look, the flame, that you just called it, or a scar, the Oshimaru, the curse mark. It was just like perfect, man, and I just love that. That to me was probably even more the highlight than the actual dragon dance that I mentioned, just because like I imagine these demons being so confident, and all of a sudden in the middle of battle you get this memory that it's not even your memory, it's a memory from your master, and this master that he was almost defeated, and it's all of a sudden you realize like, shit, like my confidence just went from like 150 to like 10%, and I'm gonna get my ass fucking killed. And I think that was the reason why he was able to even slash him, not necessarily because Tanjiro learned this new fancy move. It was the fact that all of a sudden Muzan's memory became their weakness. So it's so funny that they rely on his blood to become stronger, but all of a sudden his blood became the weakness to why they got decapitated. So I thought that was really cool, and I love the way I just said that.
I was about to compliment you. I was about to compliment and be like, Carlos, dude, that was a beautiful freaking way of putting it. But I guess no, but dude, you're so right, man. That was freaking awesome. Because he totally psyched them out, and without even having to do anything. So that was beautiful.
I still
beautifully
think
said. Beautifully said.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh man, so like I don't know, I mean, we talk about like Genya, like you guys have any? Dude, I cannot believe that the show continues. Like we're looking at episode 6, and you guys still don't know what the fuck's going on with Genya. I even spoiled it for
now.
I even spoiled it for my 14-year-old sister-in-law. I'm like, do you want to know? I'll just tell you because these guys, I can't tell them, and I need to tell somebody.
Yeah.
So like, you guys are just like, you guys need to know. Like, I don't know why they keep like pushing it.
I mean, you could tell like the audience, like if you guys don't know, if you guys already fans, don't want to know. But no, I mean, like you see it more now, right? Because again, at the end of Tanjiro's like beautiful move, he's like, oh my god, I decapitated 3 out of the 4. Where's the 4th, right? And he's immediately looking to see if he can kind of still do it or something, and then he catches like Genya with the other demon, and he's decapitated, and they're kind of like sort of impaling each other, and it's like this crazy thing, and in Tanjiro's head is more like, did that just happen? Like, was that just the perfect timing? But then also at the same time too, like he's worried about Genya because he's like impaled and stuff like that. And then he turns his freaking head, and you see a little bit more of that the demon traits, right? Because he has like those crazy eyes, he has the fangs, like So
he looks
if
cool,
you can't
man.
figure it out by now, if you can't figure it out by now, like I mean, again, I still don't know exactly what his thing is, but you could tell that it's demon related, right? So for all you guys listening, come on.
Yeah, no, and I mean, again, I don't want to spoil, man. Like, I know you kind of like, like sometimes it's like, oh, Carlos, you mentioned something that's a spoiler, but dude, honestly, the one time I read Demon Slayer manga, I'll tell you right now, I read like 150 chapters in a period of 8 hours because I was getting like my tattoo. So that's
Ooh.
where my you can't really see it. I have it on Instagram, but my Evangelion tattoo. That's when I started reading like Demon Slayer. So picture this: like I'm getting this tattoo, I'm in pain, I'm trying to distract myself. So all of a sudden, I go and I read 150 chapters of like Demon Slayer. So to me, even though I remember things, I didn't really like absorb the information. It was just one of those things like with the pain, I use Demon Slayer as a distraction, and that's kind of what like I associate my Demon Slayer knowledge with the manga. So like some of these things, I even do forget about them. So like I don't mean to spoil anything if I ever do it by accident. But yeah, like with Genya is the one thing that I also, when I remember reading the manga, I was like, what is this guy's deal? Like, what is he doing? And it's like they clearly or eventually spell it out for you. That it's like, okay, that's how they're doing it. So it's just again, I'm kind of shocked that it's taken like 6 episodes and 5 episodes going into the sixth one. You still don't know. But I think the sixth episode definitely has to be it when you guys find out about it.
Yeah, I mean, again, with that title, I looked it up. So it's "Aren't you going to become a Hashira?" Like, it does make me really curious because yes, I'm excited to see like the result of that, like Tanjiro move and how crazy that goes. And then I think it's gonna be more distracting that Genya's over here like transforming or transformed already, and then we still don't know what's going on with Tokito and Gyoko. So it's like you have like so much going on, man. Like, this is kind of like the sweet spot in the season for us so far, right? Like this is finding the first episode that you can ask me like what my favorite part of this episode was, and I can't decide right away, like because there's so much good stuff, and there's so much good stuff that we still haven't found out like what's gonna happen. So I hope Carlos that we find out just a little bit more of that stuff.
No, man. Again, I'm like very thankful. This was such a cool episode, and I can't wait to like binge it all over once it's all done because this is gonna feel like a very smooth like movie, like transition after transition when you do time together. But I think I'm done, man. At this point, I feel like I've said everything I wanted to say. Like I don't know about you, Ro, if you have any like last minute or Ramon, like feel free to talk it out. Like, what is there anything else that we missed on it? Like the only thing I really wanted to say is for the upper five demon, I feel like when I was reading the manga, I feel like that the way he was teleported because I remember that I thought he was leaving like bases all around, so he was just kind of like nitpicking which base to like teleport into. But that's
Yeah,
clearly not the case. So like now I'm like again, I feel like I don't know anything about this demon, and I don't know how he works, and I don't know like how I don't even remember how he really gets kills. It's just like man, like I want to know more about him, not because I love the way he looks, just because again, it's like a total mystery to me right now.
I just think they got to contract Link, man. Bring Link over here, and then he'll take care of that dude
Yeah,
any day.
yeah,
Smash his
Oh
faces.
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's how
let's
he
go.
does.
Yeah, dude, we got this, man. No, I mean, I still, I'm still kind of curious to see, like, not necessarily, we don't have to go back and talk about the favorite parts, but like, there's so many great things to this episode, man. I'm still laughing about again after the credits roll, and if you didn't see it, watch it because it's a funny
I
thing
will.
when they're asking the love Hashira, like, how do you like sheath your sword, and she's like, poison potato. And then it's a joke, but she says poison potato, and she makes like this little gesture of how like that's how she like puts her sword back. I don't know. Just watch it.
I saw it, so I know what
Poison,
he's talking
poison
about.
potato. Anyways, it's just funny because this is ridiculous, man. I think this show is just like so many great combinations of like fucking humor, like love, like just I don't know, just motivates you, empowers you, and then oh my god, going back to the freaking art piece that he had of all the freaking bodies, man. It's like how do you have that combination of things in the show and you still leave the episode not thinking about the most fucked up part? You're thinking about everything else and how beautiful decapitating a bunch of demons is. And man, I just love the show. Just
Well,
love it.
my thing is, I still think the Inside Out demon's not dead. He can't be
Oh
dead.
yeah,
He's too
No,
no,
no, no.
he's too strong, and he's an upper demon. So I don't
he's
know.
an upper floor man. Like there has to
Yeah,
be like something more. Yeah,
yeah.
I mean we got
So I don't know
yeah,
if
because I
it's
mean
gonna multiply or what's gonna happen, but like I don't know. I don't think Tanjiro can kill an upper four demon that easily.
no, I
Mm-mm.
mean I feel like we still have like 6 more episodes to go. I don't know how long this season's gonna be, but definitely like they can end right now. So we'll see what the next one holds. But Ramon, anything?
Oh,
No, I
and
mean I said it all.
And I will say I like how many other animes this episode reminded us of, because
Yeah.
it kind of like
Oh yeah.
it made watching all those other animes worth it.
No, and just to give a preview of like anybody that our next episode is gonna be based on Devilman Crybaby.
Crybaby.
And
Oh,
I know
God.
some of you guys might be like, oh man, like these guys really open up on this episode and said some like jokes that they've
That
never really like said
oh,
before.
God.
But I'm gonna say right now, when we review Devil May Cry, I'm gonna be putting a big spotlight into Raoul. So I can't wait for that episode to
Oh no.
happen.
No, it's and that episode is definitely going to be. We're probably going to have like every disclaimer and every like warning for every type of disturbing everything.
Yeah, stay away from Raoul. It's gonna be the disclaimer.
No.
It's gonna be Slim Shady ratings. Nope.
But yeah, anybody Devilman Cry coming soon this week, so be excited about that. And if you haven't seen it, go check it out on Netflix. So this has been Carlos.
Short.
Great talking to you.
Yeah, it's very rated XO.
See, Raul just wants to go into it right now, man. He's like, I'm not gonna wait.
It's just a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's all right.
All right. Well, you guys.
On the next episode, Raul's.
Yeah.
Raul's gonna. The cops are gonna jump at his house.
Tune in next week.
Talk to you guys. Bye.
Bye.